Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Trails in the Sky the Third. And yes, if you saw my community post, I did manage to beat the Nightmare Arena. Ooh. It wasn't easy, but it's done. So, as per my proof of completion, there is the save before, there is the save after. About an hour and a bit difference. I think it took me about an hour and a half. But the setup I used was pretty similar. I had a water gem on Ren instead of the sapphire gem, which let her live a single hit with the Zodiac's defense boost applied. Which was basically enough to make sure I didn't get screwed by bad turn RNG. Once you discover that Lightning Flash and its AoE is based on where Cassius is and not where your party members are, helps a lot. Because I basically used Dark Matter EX to just keep dragging him into a corner so he couldn't Lightning Flash my entire party. And spammed Grail Sphere with Kevin while having Reese use Holy Blessing to keep giving him extra CP. If you want proof that I've done it, I have the Soul Quartz in my inventory. And just so you know I didn't generate it, I have a practice weapon in Annalace's inventory slot, which only happens in the event that Genu is equipped during the arena, because it gets upgraded if you beat the arena with Annalace. So you'll notice that when I go to unequip it, I can't equip it. And as soon as I equip any weapon, this is going to disappear immediately. It doesn't have its own inventory slot. Of course, now the dog decides to bark at everything. Cheers, dog. I love you. Could you shut up? So, upgraded Genu is 1,600 strength, plus 150 art attack and defense, plus 100 dex, and then plus 25 agility and speed. It is probably the strongest weapon in the entire game, but also the most difficult to obtain. So, the quartz reward is Soul, which is probably the best quartz, bar none, in the entire game. Because with Ingenuity 2 specifically, I can regenerate the EP that Soul will consume. And basically Kevin has infinite CP. This is the other quartz that I'd highly recommend using on Xin, if you're using him for the final set of battles. Because Soul just gives him infinite amounts of CP. You can also use this on Tita if she's using the Orbal Gear, because that'll give her CP regeneration as well. And then you can just give her damage-dealing accessories. I had to give Ren the Knight Armor that we got from the farming session we did, because otherwise she didn't have enough health to survive, even with the Sapphire... Water Gem, sorry, not Sapphire Gem. So as much as it hurt getting rid of her arts attack, I had to do it. It was worth it, though. She was the tankiest person I had next to Annalace, because Annalace was using the physical quartz. She also has a really high evasion because of the Shining Emblem. So if I had the Knight Armor on with the Shining Emblem, and I used Guard to double her double her agility? Sorry, increase it by half. She had about 500-ish and could reliably dodge Lu Wei's damage, which saved me more than once. In hindsight, I probably would have done a couple other things before I came and did this, but that's that all dealt with and out of the way. So then we can go back to base. I also used Mule as support effect because you need the extra speed to be able to keep up with Cassius when he King-gongs? I don't know. Anyway. We have basically finished all of the combat-related tasks that we'll need to do for the rest of this game. Which means that until we get into the final dungeon, all of the stuff I'm doing is basically just going to be either leveling off-stream, or I'm going to be dedicating my time to finishing all of the other doors, which is going to be on-stream, obviously. There's one that I will not be doing on-stream that I haven't already said I won't, which is Star Door 6. Because it has a crash similar to the end boss of Chapter 4. Apparently, playing on a lower DX setting can fix this bug because it's something to do with text upscaling after the attack delay effect is applied, but I honestly don't know where to start with it, and as such, I'm not going to go through a whole stream, only to have the game crash at the very end. So, instead, what I'm going to be trying to do is take care of the rest of the doors in a way that makes sense with the characters, I guess. I'm going to try and lump as many similar things together as possible. For example, Moondor 3 and Moondor 5 are both about Chloe, so I'll be doing both of those in the same section, for example. So I'll be doing those in the same stream. However, there is one Sun Door that we have yet to finish, and it's the one I've been dreading the most outside of the Nightmare Arena. We're going to have to change our party around. And we're going to need to pick up Estelle. I think... Do we need Richard for any of these? May as well bring him along anyway. So, the other thing I wanted to talk about. Wait, could it be? Yes, it could. It's Sumerian ore. Unbelievable. How did that end up being recreated in Phantasma? How long has it been there? Was it perhaps there all along? Well, I believe this is also true in the time period that you come from. That material's composition is said to be impossible to analyze by any known means. Yet by a miraculous coincidence, the means by which to process it has been discovered. Should you wish it, I would be able to use the facilities of this garden to make a new weapon for you using that ore. So, the ultimate weapons, you can get 4 of them in this game instead of just 1. Honestly, if you've grinded for all of the extra weapons that you can get from the grimoires, you really don't have too much of a desperate need for these things. The one that I'd say definitely pick up is the katana for Richard, because it turns him into an absolute beast. Good. I'm glad the process went successfully. If you find any more of that ore, bring it to me right away. I'd be happy to make a new weapon for you. The Hokiboshi is essentially a less powerful version of the Ginu that's upgraded by about 50 strength, and the arts attack and defense also isn't as good. As you can see, though, the difference between it and the Hodoriki is about 150 strength, and then plus 5 in 2 stats. So it's a lot less tedious to grind for the... God, what's the name of the... Zemurian ore. It's a lot less tedious to grind for the Zemurian ore than it is to do the Grimoire encounters. However, if you want Grimoire weapons, then they're basically the second best things in the entire game. I'm just using Hokiboshi because I have the extra resources. Yippee! I'm gonna just check the notebook real quick. Which doors have we not done? We're missing Moon Door 2, 3, and 5. Star Door 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Star Door 15 is going to be a weird one to cover because the subject matter is quite... let's just say disturbing. But we won't be going over that today. Star Door 6 is the one I'm going to be skipping, like I said, because of the crash. We'll be doing Star 15 and then 10 on the same day as well. What else do we have to clear up? What was 13? I don't think it was too bad. And then the Star Door 14 is the last one you have to do in order. But you have to complete all of the other doors first. Oh boy. Sun Door 2 it is. Okay. Bring to me the girl who loves to fish. Only then should the door open. Open the door. Open the door. So, I heard you like to fish. Every MMO player is currently receding back into their seats out of fear. A memory fragment and my blessing. Once upon a time, there was a girl called Estelle Bright who absolutely loved fishing. Meanwhile, in Gransel, there existed a group of dedicated men and women who prided themselves on the sport. They were called the Fisherman's Guild, and they were useful for all of 2 things in the first game. What else could it possibly be but called but fate were the 2 paths to cross? This is their peculiar story. Chapter 1, our story begins at the lakeside. So this has 3 parts, I'm pretty sure, and all of them suck. At the side of Valeria Lake lies a quiet little place by the name of the Kingfisher Inn. Seeking a break from her work, Estelle decided to visit for some well-deserved relaxation. At first, she had gotten exactly that. The fishing lover she was, she decided to borrow some gear from the inn and make her way out onto the pier to enjoy some quality time here. She saw one successful catch after another, and before long, her bucket was teeming with fish. But then there was Lloyd, a member of that one and only special support section, Fisherman's Guild, who happened to be at that very same inn, and on the very same day. He was having the opposite of young Estelle's lucky streak. The moment he had arrived, he had set off in his boat to begin fishing. But try as he did, he hadn't managed to catch so much as a single fish. Now feeling thoroughly defeated, Lloyd motioned towards the inn. Back towards the inn. Upon his boat approaching the pier, however, he caught sight of none other than a very pleased Estelle, rejoicing the size of her most recent catch. This sight was all it took to give rise to Lloyd's competitive nature. Now thoroughly fired up, he approached her and challenged her to a special kind of duel. And that's why I wanted to challenge you to a 5-round angler's duel. What now? A 5-round angler's duel! It's a special kind of competition we fishermen take part in, where they stake their pride and honor on the outcome. Once a member of the Fisherman's Guild mentions those words, there can be no turning back. The duel must take place. So let us do battle with our finest fishing tackle on the line. I feel like I'm getting dragged into something completely nutso. I hate to break it to you, but I don't have any stellar fishing tackle to bet on this. All my stuff was borrowed from the inn. Then you don't need to bet anything at all. That's fine. This duel is more than my good than yours, and I intend to see it through no matter what. It doesn't sound like I've got much choice but to go along with this, huh? This track will get stuck in your brain, and it won't leave. As much as I bop to this casually, in this context, it feels more like a hellish nightmare. So, what are the rules? Estelle and Lloyd will face off in a 5-round duel of the century. Both will take turns at fishing, and whoever has the most points at the end of the 5 rounds will be declared the winner. When it is Estelle's turn, you'll be prompted to choose a rod and bait to use. Certain baits can only be used with certain rods. After choosing, the game begins. When the exclamation mark appears, quickly press confirm to catch the fish. Certain fish can only be caught with certain baits, and in addition, some fish can be used as bait to catch other fish. Different varieties of fish are worth different amounts of points, making trying to catch more valuable ones the key to success. More valuable ones are also more likely to escape, but don't let that deter you. So this is just luck. You have to know which fish you need to catch other fish, and then you have to actually manage to catch them. This game sucks. You will be here for hours. Now, which rod should I use? I believe we want to get regular trout, so we want progress rod and earthworms. We now have to get lucky enough to get a trout or salmon, and then use those with the metal rod trident to get snakeheads, which is the only way to win. Yeah, that. If you fail to catch anything, you may as well resign yourself to the grave. Because they almost never fail. And this douche nozzle just whipped up a rock eater. I don't understand the fishing RNG. I really don't. Sometimes the game will give it to you, sometimes it doesn't. The timing is just non-specific. And you can't match either, because the game says no to that as well. He actually failed. Unbelievable. It's not going to amount to much. Can I have it? Can I have a trout? Or a salmon? Thank you. I believe at the end he will always catch something good, even if he's been failing everything else. So we want to use the Metal Rod Trident with the trout. And if you fail to catch this, you lose. Please tell me I got it. Please tell me I got it. Whoo! That's like on the real low end of that value. Please don't fish up anything good. Another trout? A rock eater? Maybe? How are we feeling? Please be garbage. Oh, Mother of Mercy. Fiscus Heart, and then the roe will give you a rainbow trout guaranteed, I'm pretty sure, which is what I want. Come on! Way regular trout. Okay. His catch needs to be worth less than 120... No, 134 points. 133, sorry. No, 132. What am I saying? I can't do math. Bugger! Blah, 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 blah. My honor. Blah, 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 blah. Die. I'm going to fish you to death, old man. You must rhythmically tap the button. The best method I've found for doing this is just randomly tapping the A button. Instead of waiting for the prompt, I will try and get into a rhythm of pressing. And if I hear any noise from the game whatsoever, I begin mashing frantically. Gonna go for another earthworm. A. You see what I mean? You just gotta rhythmically tap the button. After that, it's just luck on whether or not you catch the fish. It's also complete luck whether or not he'll miss fish or get a very high value one. But that snakehead at the end is always guaranteed. So you need to have more points than he does by, I think, about 170 before that final catch. Come on. Can I have the fish? Come on. Yippee! Wow, dude is having a poor run of luck. I think the only way he beats me now is if I fail this and then he gets a double snakehead. The 160. Just very slowly and rhythmically tapping A. Okay, we'll win. We are good. There is no way he can possibly beat us. I'm telling you, dude, these things only happen once in a blue moon. There's the snakehead. Row, 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 row. A. Stop. A. If you press the button in too many intervals too quickly, the fish just won't appear. And you can kind of use that to rig the fish in your favor, where you tap the button occasionally, initially, and then wait. And then you can catch it while it's lacking. But yeah, he got one guaranteed snakehead and then destroyed. Anyway, eat dirt! I mean, woohoo! I won! So I lost. What a battle! You fought admirably, Estelle. There's no shame in losing against someone as talented as you. Here, I want you to have this. A lure made out of argum? I couldn't possibly take this. It looks so expensive. No can do. Those are the rules. I challenged you to a duel while putting this on the line, and I was defeated. If you refuse to accept it, it will bring me even greater shame than I already face. So please, accept it. Well, if you really insist. Thus, Estelle accepted the silver lore from Lloyd. And though feeling bliss thanks to her victory, she was also blissfully unaware of what fate had in store for her. Received the fishing set, 5,000 mirror. Continue to chapter 2. We shall continue. Chapter 2, in the capital. Today was yet another day in which Estelle found herself roaming the north block of Grancel city sewers. Her objective was simple, defeat a wanted monster for the guild. But down there she found more than just monsters. In addition to the nasty she'd become accustomed to braining on a regular basis, she also came face to face with a young noblewoman whose delicate demeanour couldn't have looked more out of place. Estelle certainly hadn't expected this. "What are you doing down here?" she asked. The woman tittered and responded as if the answer were the most obvious thing in the world. "What else? Fishing, of course." The noblewoman's name was Norsh, and as it turned out, she was a member of the Fisherman's Guild. Do you really have to fish here of all places, though? I mean, what if a monster finds you? Estelle made up her mind to try and escort the woman back to the city with her. But Norsh had other ideas, and she refused to budge from what she felt was a prime fishing spot. The two were soon locked in a battle of pure stubbornness. Neither would simply back down gracefully, as it wasn't in their natures. It was in the middle of a heated argument when the silver lure Estelle kept on her person fell from her pocket. Goodness! Is that the famous silver lure? One of the 3 famed fishing tackles? Where in Adios' name did you obtain such a thing? I don't know anything about any famous fishing tackles, but I guess you mean this guy here? I won it from Lloyd. So you fought an angler's duel against him, did you? I'd intended to challenge him to one myself when the time was right, but I never imagined he would be defeated before then. Okay, I am so lost right now. Very well, I shall challenge you to a 10-round angler's duel in his place. 10 rounds? Listen, lady. I will not accept no for an answer. Let us begin. Wait a sec. Sorry. We're going again with this song. 'Cause it never ends. It's stuck in your skull. And it will never leave. It's a brainworm you can't get rid of yet. You want to use Progress Rod? Progress Rod. God, tongue twisters. The things we are trying to catch are a carp. Crabs also work, but we want carps more than anything, because the carps give us a chance to get a Garvels. The crabs give us access to carps or granacores. And granacores are on the higher end of that scale. Damn it, she got one already. That's awful. So we want to spend the first few rounds just trying to get some better baits. You can see I mashed a bit too fast there. I say mashed. My rhythm was a bit too quick for the game. There's a carp. Lovely. So you want to spend the first 5 rounds catching fish that will give you bigger fish, and then the last 5 rounds trying to get that bigger fish. There's also a chance that you could get some carps from fishing for granacores, though. So sometimes it's better to spend 4 rounds fishing with the progress rod instead of the full 5 that some might recommend. That was instant. That's the most useless fish you can collect. It does nothing. Norsh is also always guaranteed to get a Garvels at some point. I'm not sure which point it is. I think it might be round 8 or 9. But she's always guaranteed to get at least one. It's round 4, so I'm going to use the carp with the metal rod trident. Come on. Did I get it? I thought I was a bit late. Come on. Come on, Garvels. Yes! Booyah! Fun fact, you can find those in Sefel Tower in Ruan in 2nd chapter, and they'll give you a Shine Sphere, which is a really broken accessory that early in the game. The more you know. Anyway. We have a lot of points. Never mind. I'm even coughing rhythmically. Jesus. We're going to use the crab with the bamboo rod, which will give us a carp or a granicore. Either of them is fine. Granicore is the best fish I think you can get here. But obviously if you get a carp, you could also get a Garvels, so it's not awful. Come on, Estelle. Robbed. Well, she missed one, I missed one. It's fair. Oh, crud. What are we going to use? I think I'll go with some dumplings. I don't know whether fish want to eat baked goods, but apparently they do. Are dumplings baked? They are technically, right? I guess. I'll have to look that up. Give me a moment. Oh dear. Nope, it's just a little boiled carp. Woo, baby! Now what? Well, more dumplings. You basically just want to keep fishing for carps, because if you get a carp, you can get a Garvels. If you run out of chances to get crabs, it's unfortunate, but it happens. Okay. Uh-oh. Okay, that's not it either. Another bamboo rod? Because I don't have any carp. That's my problem. Also, no, you steam, boil, and fry dumplings, apparently. You don't bake them. You boil them in a soup. Damn, now I feel like an idiot. Well, now you know how to prepare dumplings, kind of, maybe, sort of. The educational things I teach you. Educational things I teach myself, to be honest. Wow. Another Liber Ark. Damn it. She casts off. Pray to God we don't see a long animation. What did I just say? Ah! Okay, it was just a carp. It's just a carp. Oh no, I'm out of freaking dumplings. My entire supply. If only I knew how to cook. Riverbug, Riverbug, Riverbug. I'm out of things. Please die. I think I'm still on track to beat her as long as I can keep catching stuff. Not a Yamini! Ah! No! Come on! Come on! Catch nothing! Catch garbage! That's pretty garbage! I'm fairly sure the Yamini also can't catch anything, which is quite pathetic. We're going to use some road. I barely have 10 bait on me, apparently. World's poorest senior bracer, I swear. Tiger Rockfish, over 500 points. Nice. He's still going to beat me because I got unlucky, but still. Where's that guaranteed Garvels? Yes! She absolutely biffed it because she didn't have enough crabs. You fool! How could this have happened? How could I, of all people, be defeated? Well, you satisfied now? If you are, it's time you came back with me to the city. Trust me, it's not safe down here. You were truly more worried about me than winning the jewel, weren't you? No wonder I couldn't defeat you. Now, if you will, kindly accept this. Golden rod! Wow, it's so shiny! Are you sure I can have this? In fact, I insist. I would be more troubled if you didn't accept it. These are the laws behind Angler's jewels, you know. Still, kindly remember that you have more to fear than just me. No getting complacent simply because I fell in battle. There's still our guild's leader to defeat after all. Aw, man. Is he really that good? Indeed. His name is Mr. Fisher, and he is both this guild's founder and most capable member. Also unfortunately named by his parents. Kind of shaped his destiny with that one. Knowing that may incline you to avoid facing him, but don't think you will be so lucky. With the 2 tackles you now possess, he will come for you. A duel with him is nigh, whether you desire it or not. Alrighty then, if you say so. At this point, Estelle had no idea just how capable this fisher may prove to be. And while there was a small part of her that couldn't help but regret biting the law of the Fisherman's Guild, there was a much greater part that couldn't deny wanting to see where this journey would take her. Received the Plate of Excellence and 5,000 Mira. Continue? No! Save, you fool! So, is it an equipment? Or am I crazy? I'm crazy. Oh dear. What a spot of bother. What the hell is this fishing gear then? I swear I'm not going crazy. Where? Anyway, Plate of Excellence, 10,000 HP, cures faint, sleep, and petrify. Decent by the time you get it, but kind of outclassed by other things now. Okay, it's gotta be here somewhere. Surely. It's not going to be a quartz. Am I just going crazy? It's just monster ingredients. I have a severe mental damage. Okay. Oh, God. Well, if you've saved, feel free to head back in. Because this one is quite possibly the most annoying fisherman's duel. We want to start from final chapter, because we've just gotten it unlocked. Final chapter, battle at Azalea Bay. Azalea. Along the shore of Gull Seaside Way, near Rouen, the decisive moment that Norse had foretold was finally to come. Whether their meeting was a coincidence or fated all along, no one could possibly say. Estelle was idly walking along the shore for no particularly adequate reason, when all of a sudden a single small yacht drew closer and closer. The yacht eased as close to the shore as it could safely get, and from on top of it stepped a fine man. He was a gentleman in a tuxedo, the sea extending into the distance behind him, making for an equally elegant backdrop. As soon as she saw him, she knew he was the leader Norse had spoke of. Mr. Fisher, bearer of the title Avid Angler, and known by the nickname of Fishing Baron. That lure! That rod! Are you the Fisherman's Guild president? No, there is no need for words now. I have been awaiting this moment for longer than you can possibly imagine. I challenge you to a 15-round angler's duel, immediately. 15? We're gonna be here all day, aren't we? Let the battle begin! Ah, crud. And sludge. Anyway, fisherman's duel. This is the worst one. Which rod should I use? Good God. I need to think. I think we need a sea bass, I'm pretty sure. How are we gonna get that? We'll go some shrimplets. Don't feel bad about losing to this guy, by the way, because he cheats more than the rest of them do. He gets 3 guaranteed large fish, and those can, I believe, either be a Giganora, Blue Marlin, or Claudine. You want him to get Claudines, because those are worth the least. So you want to use Polychate and Shrimplets with your Progress Rod, because those will give you access to Sea Bass the most. Damn it. I wasn't paying attention. I may as well reset off that, honestly. Unless he misses as well, in which case I don't have to. So, Shrimplets or Polychates both do the same thing. Polychete? I don't know. But you want to use these first, and then get as many sea bass and Casagos as possible. Sea bass is preferred, but Casagos can also get you more sea bass, so those are fine as well. Unfortunately, this nerd will always get at least 1,000 points with the 3 guaranteed rare fish he gets. So by the end of it, you need to have over 1,000 points, preferably around 1,200 to sit comfortably. Which can be a bit difficult when the fishing RNG says screw you. Again, my best advice is just rhythmic tapping of the button. After about 7-8 rounds of fishing for sea bass and Casagos, you just want to go all in on the big stuff. You'll eventually run out of Shrimplets and Polychate as well, which is annoying. But you should hopefully have enough fish by that point that you don't need any more. Casago, very nice. It's going to be quite a low-scoring start, for sure. And sometimes that can happen. That message will appear if you fish and there are no appropriate fish for the bait that you used. That's quite a rare message for the AI to receive, specifically. They're a lot more likely to just not catch anything than use the wrong combination of stuff. Okay, now he's going to start cheating. Either now or next catch. Yep, there it is. Claudine, perfect. Gonna use our metal rod tried up with our sea bass, and we're gonna try and go for a blue marlin or a Giganora. Come on. Come on, Estelle! Come on! Wowee! Perfect start. That was more on the middle scale. Blue Marlins can go up to about 340, and Giganoras can go to 400. Ooh! You see what I mean with him cheating? He's such a cheater. He's such a stinky, stinky cheat. Unbelievable how much he cheats. Unbelievable. Ridiculous. There we are. On the small size, but still good enough. He can get more than 3 big catches as well. He's not limited to those 3 that he's guaranteed. So you have to somehow scrape together more than he does. Cassigo, okay. Do we have any carps left? We do not. So we're going to use the Cassigos with the Marine Star, in the hopes that we find some sea bass. If we find Claudines, we find Claudines. It is what it is. There's not really much you can do. Sea bass, perfect. That's exactly what we want. We are comfortably ahead for now. Not so comfortably that we can rest on our laurels, but comfortably. Gonna use the sea bass here. Come on. Nope. Game said no. Well, I think we're screwed. Unless we can get another sea bass or Cassigo in time in these next 4 rounds. And he has a lot of Cassigos in his back. Uh-oh. This is pretty bad for us. Because he's guaranteed at least one more big un. What do we got? Sea bass, very nice. I'm going to spend one more turn going for a sea bass, and then I'm going to swing for a big un. I think here comes his last one. No. He does get another sea bass, though, which means he's got more than enough ammunition for a large fish. Which is a bit concerning. Can I get a small fish here? Give me a sea bass. Sea bass? Or Cassigo, I take either. Thank you. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Use the Metal Rod Trident on the sea bass, now that he failed. Come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on. That was so good. That was so good. Come on. More than 1,000 points. Come on. Yes! 1,106 points. He needs to get 2 large ones. He has 1 guaranteed large one left, I'm pretty sure. Unless the Claudine at the start counted as a large, in which case he doesn't. Okay. Ooh. Gonna use the Marine Star on the Cassigo and hope that we can get a sea bass. If we get Claudine, we get Claudine. It is what it is. Come on. Sea bass. Sea bass! Yeah! Sea bass! Woo! Sea bass! Ooh, sea bass! We love fish. Oh my god, he got screwed. He actually just got screwed. If this sea bass doesn't catch, I think we do lose. Unfortunately. Maybe? Ooh, god, come on. Come on, sea bass. Come on, sea bass. Please. Please give me a big fish. Come on. Oh, yes. I think that's big enough. I don't think there is a single cheaty bullshit thing he can do. I think the biggest fish he can get is like 500 points because he cheats. I swear, if this is a long pull animation. Here's his cheat fish. Come on. Ah. Unbelievable. I had no idea you would prove to be quite so skilled. Clearly the time for adults to be leading the way has passed. I ask that you accept this. Fisher handed over a rainbow-coloured fishing line. Wow, this is so pretty. Thank you very much. I can hardly believe the time has finally come for the 3 famed fishing tackles to be gathered in the hands of one owner. You said your name was Estelle, yes? Yeah, I did, but... I've made up my mind. Starting today, you will be the new leader of the Fisherman's Guild. Huh? What? As for me, I suppose I'll assume the title of honorary president from this day forward. This is the time for young people like you to take center stage. I hope you will dedicate yourself as best you can to spread and further our fishing culture. Hold on. You can't just shove that kind of responsibility on someone. I'm not going to be the leader. After roughly an hour of continuous negotiations in which neither of them wished to back down, Estelle was able to convince Mr. Fisher that the burden of being a leader was too great for her, and she was granted an honorary membership in the guild instead. But while Estelle's duels were over, news of what had happened spread like wildfire among fishermen, spawning legends that would persist much longer. Henceforth, whenever they spoke of Estelle, they spoke of her with a new nickname. A fitting nickname for one who had triumphed in such challenging English duels? Estelle, the Supreme Fisher. She really do be the legendary angler. And so, the Fisherman's Emblem, plus 50 strength, plus 1 range, minus 3 move. This gives Estelle a fairly ridiculous reach with her staff. With Umgai and Force Flag specifically, this can give her plus 4 range, which is about the same as base Tita, which should be saying a lot. 4 range on a physical damage dealer is a little bit silly. And with Terrasphere, she can do physical attacks while kiting out enemies, which is pretty damn impressive. I don't see why we don't show this off really quickly. As you can see, her attack range is ridiculously long. If nothing else, picking up the Fisherman's Guild emblem for Estelle is just nasty. You can also get this as soon as you get Estelle. It's just a grind going through the Fisherman's Guild minigames, which aren't difficult, just annoying. So if you're willing to sit there and go through all of that, you can make Estelle a top-tier physical damage dealer who can play at fairly safe ranges with Terrasphere support. Indeed. So, back to where we were. That is now every Sundoor finished. If you check your Geraldred notebook, that is all of them complete. I think the Kapuas have a second stage once you finish the Black Ark, but I'm honestly not bothered enough to go and do it. It does give a bit more backstory about Josette, but I honestly have no damns to give about her character. It's still a little depressing that she shows up more than Kevin does in future games, but that's neither here nor there. Oh, dear lord. Anyway, we're skipping Stardoor 6. I believe I need to show off Stardoor 8, and... Where is it? Is it Laboratory 1? I have to check which one of these I actually needed to do. Hold on. Just a moment. Is it 13? Alright. So we're going to give Richard... Where the hell is it, Richard? The Tiger Heart, yes. He needs the Tiger Heart and the Gladiator Belt, or the Solar Seal, whichever one you want to equip him with. I'm going to give him the Seal, though. Estelle can keep the Fisherman's Emblem and the Blade Lord's Emblem. I'm not too fussed about those. Ah, right. I should probably craft the other ultimate weapons that I wanted to make, huh? Seeing as there's only a very brief bit of extra combat that needs to be done. So, the other Zemirian ore weapons I'm going to be forging are the Staff, the Twin Blades, and the Orbital Cannon. Now, if you did have some way to theoretically cheat in more Zemirian ore, i.e. save editing and stuff like that, you could make as many Zemirian ore weapons as you wanted here, and I may end up eventually doing that for the sake of having a showcase save file, I guess, with everything unlocked on it that I could give people to download at the end of the playthrough. But for now, I'm going to be doing the opposite of that. As for why I picked these weapons in particular, the Meltdown Buster just gives Tita more damage, and she desperately needs that for her Orbital Gear. As for the Serenity Blades and the Sphere Soleil, that's purely just a personal thing. I just feel like Estelle and Joshua deserve them, I guess. Kevin doesn't really use weapons, neither does Reese. So I didn't feel like giving those to them. And that's really it. Let's get over to Star Door 13. Be advised that there is an enemy encounter inside of this door. So you may want to fight some enemies outside first. Just gonna enfeeble these guys here to make Richard cut through them like frickin' butter. Just swing, dead. Schwong, gone. Reflective Robe, nice. Also, one other thing I want to point out about having Soul on Kevin here. you can see that his EP does go down slightly. But the decay isn't so bad. You can see that it's hovering at 655. And this is because the Ingenuity Quartz is... the Soul Quartz is draining his EP after the Ingenuity is restoring it, which leaves his EP at 655. However, as long as he has full CP, Ingenuity will still increase his EP, and his EP will not be stolen. Anyway, only those who have struggled through countless battles are worthy of entering here. Only upon finishing the 400th battle will the door be opened. We are well above that by now. Let us commence forth. A memory fragment and my blessing. Wait, this isn't the right door. I was thinking about 11. Damn it! Crap. Oh well. Anyway. Still relevant, still relevant. We were doing Estelle stuff, she's a bracer. This is bracer stuff. Anyway. Report on the attack on Erebonia's bracer guilds. In Septian 1202, many of the branches of the Bracer Guild in Erebonia came under attack in quick succession. The perpetrators were an armed group, but all else about them was unknown, and the guild along with all connected to it in the nation fell into a state of confusion. Before long, the Orbital Communications network in the capital was rife with calls and messages, and the situation grew increasingly grave. From Intelligence Division, 1st Subdivision to General Staff Office. At dawn yesterday, the capital's guild houses were completely destroyed by powerful explosives. According to the 2nd Subdivision's analysis, the explosions were likely set directly below the buildings in the city's underground waterways. Judging by the explosives used and means employed, this was the work of professionals. Currently working to confirm the locations of potentially dangerous persons within the country. From Intelligence Division, 3rd Subdivision, to Intelligence Division, 1st Division. A Jaeger member has been found among those suspected of entering the country illegally. Confirmed to be responsible for logistics in the Jester Jaeger Corps. Keep an eye on other members of the same corps in the country. From Erebonian Bracer Guild to Liberian Bracer Guild Gransel Branch. At dawn today, the guild house in Heimdall came under attack. We are unable to contact the Bracers charged with overseeing them. We requested the aid of high-ranking Bracers. This is urgent. We repeat, this is urgent. From Intelligence Division, 1st Subdivision to General Staff Office. The Bracer Guild here in Erebonia has sent a message to the guild's Gransel branch. Judging by the content of the message, at least one high-ranking Bracer will be entering Erebonia in the coming days. We request they be pursued and put under strict surveillance upon arrival. Two days after the assaults began, Cassius Bright, S-Rank, arrived in the Imperial capital. He assumed the post of provisional representative of the Erebonian Guild. After doing so, he assessed the damage to the guilds, and called for the Bracers assigned to them, who had become scattered in the chaos, to reconvene outside the city. He also ordered a halt to all orbital communications to prevent interception by the enemy. By this point, guilds in 6 cities had been attacked, and the Bracer Guild in Erebonia was beginning to struggle to function. The branches that had not yet been attacked requested the army's protection. However, they seemed to be in no hurry to grant their support, making it clear that they could not be counted upon. Meanwhile, the provisional representative was able to estimate the rough location of the enemy supply base from their movements up to that point, and after choosing a small number of bracers who were familiar with the area, he sent them to try and find it. His reasoning for going with this approach was that he had concluded the enemy would have to build a base inside the country because of how strict Erebonia's border controls are. It did not take long for his lose the battle but win the war strategy to produce results. For Intelligence Division 1st Subdivision to General Staff Office. The bracer sent by Liber's guild is confirmed to be the one Cassius Bright. Bright is an S-rank bracer whose file in our subdivision has him rated as a level 4 threat, the second highest level possible. He is also the man believed to have commanded the counteroffensive against the Imperial Army during the 100 Days War. He may potentially pose a threat to national security, so he is being carefully watched. From Intelligence Division 1st Subdivision to General Staff Office. Attempt to track Cassius Bright failed, current whereabouts are unknown. However, as requested by HQ, we have not raised the alert level and have left it as it stands. Several bracers are currently travelling aboard a train. We believe them to be taking part in some kind of operation. From Intelligence Division to General Staff Office. 6 bracers assaulted the Jaeger's base. The Jaegers inside the base were apprehended. I've identified them to be members of the Jester Jaeger Corps. The discovery of the enemy's base revealed that it was a Jaeger Corps known as Jester who was behind the attacks. After this, however, the Jaeger's movements became much more passive, and the two sides entered a deadlock. The stalemate continued for roughly 2 months. During this time, the Guild's representative made contact with the Intelligence Division, and began preparing for an operation that would ultimately allow him to bring the trouble to an end. From Intelligence Division 1st Subdivision to General Staff Office. Cassius Bright has made contact with a member of our subdivision, currently in the process of confirming. General Staff Office. The target, Cassius Bright, has proposed a joint operation, intending to meet him again at the specified date and time. Strategic analysis of the Bracer Guild attack, Intelligence Division, 2nd Subdivision. What eventually broke the deadlock was a brilliant strategy devised by Cassius Bright. Having successfully made contact with a member of the Intelligence Division, he made them send a message to HQ in the hopes it would be intercepted by the enemy. What happened was exactly that. From the message, they were able to deduce the time and place the next meeting would happen, and set about plotting his assassination. Exactly what Cassius Bright hoped would happen. During the meeting, Cassius Bright had also given said Intelligence Division member an encoded message. It contained detailed plans for an operation in which the Imperial Army would defeat the Jaegers after they had been lured out by false information. The General Staff Office chose to go ahead with the proposed plan, and after a joint operation with the Bracer Guild, the Jaegers, who had gathered to assassinate Cassius Bright, were surrounded and forced to surrender. Furthermore, the remnants of their forces, who were in other bases, were also defeated after the initial prisoners gave up their locations. Several months after the trouble began, Jester was completely dismantled. From Intelligence Division, 1st Subdivision to General Staff Office. Raising the threat level of Cassius Bright, S-rank Bracer, effective immediately. Henceforth, he will be regarded as a level 5 threat. He poses a severe threat to national security, and must be placed under strict surveillance if he ever enters the country again. From Intelligence Division, 1st Subdivision to General Staff Office. Confirmed that the surveillance target left the country today. His departure was without incident. Handing control over the mission over to our foreign agencies. Transmission over. From GSO, Special Investigation Department, to His Excellency the Imperial Chancellor. We have also confirmed Cassius Bright's departure. We shall continue to pursue him, but he has not shown any suspicious behaviours to date. We have yet to confirm any interactions between him and the minstrel. We will continue to follow their movements. Side story, Assault on the Imperial Guilds finished. Received Jagged Armor, 10,000 Mirror. So, that door details the events that happened to Cassius between when he left the country at the start of first chapter and when he came back at the end of second chapter. So for those 2 months that Estelle and Joshua were travelling around Liber, he was solving the crisis in Gransel. However, you may notice that in text from the Special Intelligence Division section, in green at the end there, to His Excellency the Chancellor, it said something about him having contact with the minstrel. let's go and see what that's all about, shall we? This is essentially a precursor to everything that happens in Erebonia in the first Cold Steel games. If you've seen these events, you'll understand why everything plays out the way it does in Trails of Cold Steel 1 and 2, and a little bit of 3 and 4. But 3 and 4 not so much. Mostly just 1 and 2. Speaking of the minstrel, we will require his presence, as well as Mueller, and also Richard, to get the full scope of this story in our noggins. The place that you want to head is down to Star Door 7, I think. No, Star Door 8. And even here, they refer to Olivier as the Playful Minstrel. This all but confirms that the minstrel that was referred to in a letter to the Chancellor of Erebonia is Olivier. Bring to me the Playful Minstrel and his closest ally against the beast they seek to overcome. Only then shall the door open. This is a particularly long one. 1 month after the collapse of the Liber Ark, the banquet to celebrate the crisis' successful resolution was over, with Estelle and her friends having largely left the capital to go elsewhere. One of them, however, Prince Oliver Rice-Arna, sat rather comfortably in the ambassador's office in Gransel's Erebonian embassy, his work in the country not quite settled. Can't believe that you... I mean, my deepest apologies for not noticing that you were His Highness Prince Oliver sooner. Oh, I'm not surprised you never realized. I may be a prince, but my mother was a commoner. What point is there in bothering to remember my face? It's not as though I often showed myself in the palace or attended high society gatherings. Knowing me certainly isn't going to help you in moving up the ranks, my friend. There's no need to be so humble, Your Highness. Besides, I'm actually rather grateful to you, Ambassador. You gave me all kinds of useful advice during my stay here at the embassy that I'm sure will benefit me in my future. Well-meant words such as, act like a man of the Empire for once in your life, and stop idling here, go home and try doing some damned work. Your Highness, Your Highness, I think you've tormented him enough for one day. The ambassador behaved in the same way any other sane man would in his position. If anything, I'd say he has every right to be angry at us for keeping the truth from him for so long. But Mueller... I suppose you're right. I'll spare him any more teasing for now. I actually wasn't joking about being grateful to you, though. You truly have done admirable work over the past month. I have? Acting as a pipeline within the Empire, checking the safety of Erebonians residing in Liber, helping the international line of service to resume. And those are only the tip of the iceberg. You've done so much more. You have my deepest thanks as a Prince of the Empire. I am not worthy of such praise, Your Highness. You, however, deserve the utmost for braving the danger you did flying up to the Liber Ark. All of what happened seems to have caused quite the commotion in our homeland. So the people seem to be rather relieved now that they know the danger has passed. It's all thanks to your courage that they are able to rest easy. Oh, there's no point in flattering me, Ambassador. I just did what I could. Nothing more, nothing less. And I couldn't have done anything alone. All I was able to accomplish was thanks to the help of those around me. I'm fairly removed from the stereotype of Erebonians as stern, strong, and self-sufficient, if I do say so myself. As rude as it may be to agree, perhaps you're correct. And yet I believe your willingness to be flexible most definitely helps rather than hinders you here. I believe people like you are exactly what the Empire is going to need in the future, regardless of how I may feel about His Excellency the Chancellor's approach. Ambassador. Well, this is a surprise. I was under the impression that you supported the Chancellor. Then again, you are a noble. Does that lead you to oppose his reformist policies, perhaps? I may be a noble on paper, but I'm only a baron. All in all, I generally fall in favour of his reformist policies. Be that as it may, while this may just be the result of being in Liber for so long and being influenced by the ways of its people, I do sometimes find myself becoming frightened by his hardline approach. I can't help but wonder exactly what direction he's trying to take our old nation. Interesting. Your Highness? Oh, I was just thinking that I'm quite glad to have taken the chance to engage in such fruitful talk with you just before departing the country. I pray you will continue doing all you can to ensure the peace of Liber and its surrounding nations while I'm gone. Preferably in cooperation with Ambassador Cochrane. Yes. Let's not forget her, I suppose. Still, it's true that the Non-Aggression Pact was signed. There's been some progress with regards to the crossbell problem. And given that it was Liber who proposed said pact, that makes my role in future negotiations very important indeed. I presume that is what you are trying to say. You're a sharp one, my good man. Excellent. Now I can return to the capital with my mind at ease. Leave everything here to me, Your Highness. I will be looking forward to hearing what you achieve back in our homeland. This is truly a country like no other. I never thought the day would come when I would hear things like that from a noble of the Empire. Indeed. He's apparently somewhat less of an obstinate man than I thought he was. Perhaps this nation's very air has the power to genuinely change people. It seems to have had an effect on you too. I feel like I'm seeing a lot more smiles from you these days than I used to. I'm loath to admit it, but that may well be true. I still find myself wishing that you would learn from Nobelian's dignity and sense of restraint, however. Two qualities you don't particularly possess in any measure, in fact. You have far too much of their opposites. You say that, but these qualities are only weapons that I have. I don't have much that will allow me to compete against the Chancellor. I need to use what little happens to be tucked in my corner as best I can. Have there been any changes to our plans? No. We should be able to proceed as arranged. 3 days ago, the Chancellor left the capital on a tour of Eastern Erebonia. Tomorrow, you will be returning there aboard the Arsail while he's still out in the east. All those who need to be made aware of our return have been given proper notice. Your arrival in Erebonia will make a real impact, of that I am certain. What potential obstructions to the plan are there at present? Nothing major. There have been some movements in the Intelligence Division's 4th Subdivision, but not much. There's a chance that everyone is being cautious because the Arsail is involved. But I'd put greater odds on the idea that everyone's just treating this as a pompous performance by you and not taking it seriously. Well, they'd be right to. It is. I've no choice but to start here, even if this means I have to use Liber. And if I'm going to put on a show, why not put on the finest one the skies have ever seen? I suppose I can argue that. I'm sorry to trouble you all at this late hour, Your Highness. A message has arrived for you from Heimdall. What would you have me do? Really? All right. Come in. Pardon me. Well, if it isn't Lecter. I was wondering where you'd been. I haven't seen you all day. Yeah, I've been exceptionally busy with work since this morning, I'm afraid. Yeah, I'd hoped to be able to come and see you earlier since you'll be leaving tomorrow. I'm terribly sorry for not being able to. Oh, never mind that. If that work of yours is done now, we three could always enjoy some sensual quality time together for the remainder of the night. So, what was the message from the capital, Secretary? They've acknowledged receipt of His Highness's message. However, they didn't anticipate that you may be able to arrive all the way from Gransil in less than half a day. As such, they're currently in a major panic, trying to ensure everything's ready for the ceremony tomorrow. Well, that doesn't come as a surprise. There's nothing like the Arsail when it comes to speed at home. How cruel you both are for so deftly ignoring my proposal. Although, it sounds as though the stage will be set in time. Now, I need to decide on an outfit that will leave everyone's jaws on the floor to sweeten my arrival. Perhaps a glistening coat and white loincloth will do the trick. That'd make a grand impact, all right. I almost wish I could go along and see it myself. Please, don't encourage him. You show remarkable promise for someone so young. What do you say to coming back on the Arsail with me? I'd welcome your company. Your work here in Liber is just about done, isn't it? Your offer is tempting, but I'm afraid I have another job to take care of soon. The thought is appreciated, of course. Really? Well, that is a shame. Good luck with that next job of yours. Thank you. Well, if you'll excuse me. So, that is Secondary Secretary Lector Arundel. Is it safe to assume he's one of the Chancellors? Almost definitely, yes. He came through Hacken Gate on foot and took up his new position at the embassy a month ago. And right around that same time, we headed to the Liber Ark aboard the Arsail at that. There's no way that could possibly be a coincidence. No, it could. The most likely possibility seems to be that he's part of the intelligence division. Are you sure not doing anything regarding him all this time was a good idea? Oh, absolutely. We need some way to find out what the Chancellor was up to after all. We'll probably get some kind of reaction from the Chancellor through his reports at some point. Probably in about 2 weeks when the Chancellor's tour is finished. You'd planned that far ahead all along, had you? Well, in that case, I'll be sure that we're ready. I'll be counting on you, love. Oh. Something the matter? Not really. It's just that the moon has come out. And what a beautiful full moon it is. It's strange to think that this will be the last time we'll see the moon from here. Truth be told, I'm gonna miss it. Well, well, it looks like putting a smile on your face a little more often isn't the only thing Liber's done for you. It's opened up your eyes to life's natural beauty as well. But in all seriousness, we'll just have to do all we can to be able to come back and see it again one day. While we're both still alive. Indeed. The next morning, Your Majesty, Your Highness, I humbly thank you both for your generous hospitality during my stay in your fine kingdom. You were even gracious enough to humour my brazen request of escorting me back to Heimdall aboard the Arsail. This debt I owe you will be repaid many times over in the future. Rest assured of that. Oh, you needn't think of this as anything we went out of the way for. Escorting an honoured guest back home is a matter of course. Particularly a guest to whom we owe a great debt of gratitude. If you ever have the opportunity, please do come back to Liber again in the future. I imagine Estelle and Joshua will be back by then too, so we'll all be able to give you a nice warm welcome. Ha! I'm already excited for my next visit. Have they left the country yet, by the way? They're busy getting ready to leave over in Roland at the moment, I believe. I am planning to see them off when the time comes. I see. Incidentally, while the ruins of Harmel are currently sealed off, I'll do what I can on my end to assure they are allowed inside. Could I trouble you to pass that along to them? Certainly. Thank you very much, Your Highness. Oh, think nothing of it. It's the least I could do after all they've done for me. I owe you a great deal too, Cassius. If not for your assistance stopping that armoured division from crossing into Liber, wouldn't have been as simple as it was. I could say the same thing to you. Still, as I'm sure you're aware, the outcome will have been well within the realm of possibility for the Chancellor. I doubt he was even surprised by the incident. Really? Most likely not. Erebonia had nothing at all to gain from using that situation to occupy Liber. Certainly not to the extent that it would be worth going out of their way to develop inefficient steam tanks. The only reason I can see for him doing what he did was as a show of power to surrounding nations, a statement that even without orbital power, Erebonia's army could still act. I indeed suspect that was his true aim all along. Goodness. So, you did notice. The orbital shutdown phenomenon was a complete unknown to the rest of the continent. Perhaps it might never occur again, but there's always the chance it might, whether it's here or somewhere else entirely. I hear the Empire only built a relatively small number of those tanks all, too. Certainly not enough to launch a full-scale invasion. By the sounds of it, they were just put it together in Reinford's factories using parts intended for standard orbital tanks. But, as it stands, the know-how to put together tanks like that only exists in the Empire. And in these unpredictable times, no other nation has the time or resources to try and develop extremely inefficient steam-powered weaponry. In a sense, because of what just happened, the Imperial Army's effect as a deterrent is even greater than ever. He's using war as a diplomatic tool, and very effectively at that. None of this had ever occurred to me. I have a long way to go before I'm fit to be a ruler of this country. Don't beat yourself up about it too much. He's no ordinary foe to even the most hardened veterans. The Chancellor always seems to be thinking several steps ahead of the rest of the world. It's impressive, no matter what we may think of his actual ideas. I'm quite the reckless fool to be trying to challenge him, if I do say so myself. Don't be silly, Your Highness. How you can say that with a smile on your face is utterly beyond me. You should focus on building a strong foothold to begin with. I do hope you'll be careful. No matter what may occur, be sure not to lose sight of exactly where you stand. Of course, Your Majesty. If I were to go and bring shame upon myself now, I'd be wasting all the effort involved in escorting me back home. I'll be sure to take what you have said to heart. Excuse me, Your Majesty. Hilda? Whatever is the matter? It's not often I see you so flustered. My apologies, Your Majesty. It's just that a sudden guest for you has arrived at the castle. Ordinarily, I would not have rushed in while you were in meeting with others, but the visitor is so irregular that I thought you should know at once. Irregular? How so? It sounds like it's about time I take my leave, then. Actually, the visitor said he would like to greet you as well, and not just Her Majesty. What? Hilda? Just who is this visitor? Well, he introduced himself as Chancellor Gileath Osborne of the Erebonian Empire. It's an honor to be granted a personal audience. I am Gileath Osborne, representative of the Imperial government. My apologies for the abrupt intrusion. So, you are Chancellor Osborne. And it's a pleasure to see you again as well, Your Highness. It's been a year since we last met, is it not? I hope these passing months have seen you well. Yes. Yeah, sounds about right. Still, while I'll hope you forgive me for asking, just what did prompt someone of your stature to appear at the castle without warning? I'd very much like to hear your side of the story. My apologies, Your Highness. You see, these past few days, I've been touring Eastern Erebonia on routine inspections. It's been going very smoothly, more so than I had initially anticipated. I had enough free time in my schedule to pay a cordial visit. Oh, my. Is that so? Naturally. I would have preferred to come here while the crisis was still unfolding like yourself did, Your Highness. Unfortunately, the confusion in Southern Erebonia was simply too pressing a matter, and I had no choice but to deal with it first. This was the first chance that presented itself to come here and meet directly with Her Majesty. So I acted with the utmost expediency. I hope you'll forgive my lack of proper decorum in failing to give advance notice of my arrival. That does make sense, at least. Regardless, please don't concern yourself with me. No doubt you wish to offer your greetings to Her Majesty. My thanks, Your Highness. Well then, allow me to extend my most heartfelt greetings to both of you, Queen Alicia and Princess Claudia. It's abundantly clear that the crisis that unfolded here has been quite the ordeal for yourselves and for your nation's people. You have my deepest sympathies for the hardships you have endured, as well as my commendation for bringing the situation under control. I thank you for your kind words, Your Excellency. If anything, we should be apologizing to you for the fact that the southern side of your nation was caught up in what should have been our problem. We should be the ones going to you, rather than having you trouble yourselves to come all the way to Liber. I beg you to accept our apologies together with my deepest thanks for coming here today. I would never ask for apologies. I've heard what happened was the work of a shadowy organization, stirring up trouble within your borders. While I meant well by sending a military force to aid you, I wouldn't have done something so careless had I known the truth of the matter. My actions were rash, foolish even, and I was rightfully reprimanded by His Imperial Majesty for them. Oh my. Fortunately, His Highness the Prince was able to act with all due haste to put right my misstep before even greater harm was done. I owe you a great debt of gratitude for that at least, Your Highness. And congratulations, besides, for your part in bringing an end to the crisis. Oh, I did nothing out of the ordinary. I had a lot of help from Her Majesty, Her Highness, and Brigadier General Bright here too. Bright, you say? It's a pleasure to meet you, Your Excellency. I am Cassius Bright, a Brigadier General in the Liberalian Royal Army. The pleasure is all mine, I assure you. Your name is rather well known, even in the Empire. Not as much as yours is known here in Liber, I would imagine. It's an honor to be able to speak with you in person. It's certainly a surprise to be able to, though. Coming here on a whim can't have been easy for a man as busy as yourself. It sounds as though I may have underestimated just how capable you truly are. Not at all. I was greatly impressed to see the Royal Army's effectiveness in dealing with the tumult here. Your forces have proven powerful yet flexible, capable of dealing with emergencies ably and decisively. I might go so far as to say it embodies an ideal that the Imperial Army, with its swollen ranks, could never hope to realize. You flatter us, Your Excellency. For your part, I hear you were responsible for the establishment of the Imperial Army's famed intelligence division. Our army is in desperate need of a new one of its own, so I find myself quite envious. It almost sounds as though the two of us each want what the other one has. So it does. May I ask, Your Excellency, what you will be doing now? For my part, I'm intending to leave Liber today, so I'm afraid I won't be around much longer. Yes, so I've been told. I believe you're intending to make your grand arrival in Heimdall aboard the famous Arsail. I'm impressed that you're already aware. I almost wish I could return to Erebonia on board it alongside you. But alas, I'm afraid I have other business demanding my attention after I'm finished here. I'll be leaving Liber separately this afternoon. That is a shame. I would very much have liked to invite you to this evening's banquet. Please, you need not go to such troubles on my account. I feel as though I put you out enough showing up unannounced as I did, to say nothing of dining with such esteemed company. Still, I do have some time before the airship I'll be leaving on is due to depart. That being the case, might I ask for a little of your time, Your Highness? I have a few things I'd like to discuss with you, personally. Very well. I have some matters I would actually like to discuss personally with you as well. What a fortuitous coincidence. Allow me to have a room arranged for the two of you to have your discussion, then. Hilda, if you would. Certainly, Your Majesty. Ooh, tension! God, doing Osborne's voice makes my throat hurt so badly. Oh, that is a husky front of the throat voice. Oh. Hoo-ha! Anyway, back to the matter at hand. It's obvious that Her Majesty is quite the tea fancier, if this blend is anything to go by. The fragrance, the temperature, the taste. I'd be hard-pressed to find fault with any of it. I've always been more of a coffee man myself, but I have no doubt that I'd be content with a cup of this at my desk each morning. As much as I agree with you, I don't believe we're here to talk about beverages. So, shall we get right to the point? What did you want to discuss with me? I see your sojourn in the Burl has proven most fruitful. Pardon? When we last spoke, you struck me as a bright, flexible young man. And no doubt you still are. But now I see in you a resilient inner strength girding those aspects. I'm sure His Majesty will be most delighted with your personal development. Meanwhile, I see you're the same fearless man I've always known you to be. More so, even, than that crushing aura about you seems to have only grown over time. It's as if you feed on the resentment of those who live in the territories you annex. Such harsh words, Your Highness. Personally, I prefer the term political unification. Annex can carry such negative connotations, you know. Since the end of the 100 Days' War, our army hasn't committed a single act of aggression. All our unifications have been entirely peaceful. Oh, you're quite right about that. On the surface. Oh? It's amazing how similar the annexation process is every single time it happens. It starts with a small nation or independent state with an array of problems beyond repair. Those problems start to worsen, after which Jaegers and other dangerous elements enter, plunging public order to an all-time low. Desperate for a solution, the local government requests the help of the Imperial Army. Before they know it, they're part of the Empire. Well, it's not as though I can deny what you're saying. Each instance does share certain commonalities. Still, it's to be expected. An inevitable consequence of the age of unchecked growth and progress in which we live. The Imperial Army is simply acting in the Empire's best interests, helping to stabilize our neighbors for the good of the Empire. And it's understandable that they would. I do find myself rather curious why the Intelligence Division members are going to such nations with such peculiar frequency. Well, before the problems I described worsen, no less. I won't press as to where you came by such information, as curious as I am. But I will say this. At its most basic level, these actions are about risk management. It's because we've been acting to minimize such risks beforehand that the army has been able to successfully quell each problem in turn. With the small price of earning the disdain of the people in those nations and an increased risk of terrorism in exchange. To tell you the truth, I'm rather astounded that you had the courage to come here to Liber all on your own to begin with. After all, you've made yourself the biggest target for terrorists in all of Erebonia. Your concern is touching, Your Highness. I would ask that you not trouble yourself with my safety. I employ some very skilled subordinates, tasked primarily with eliminating the risk of terrorist attacks against me. Really now? That Lecter is one of those, I assume. A rather peculiar fellow, isn't he? But a very useful one all the same. Working out the schedule for this trip and taking all the necessary precautions to ward off terrorist threats were both his doing. And thanks to his commendable efforts, I can depart for Crossbell, free from worries as soon as I've finished my business here. Crossbell? Are you surprised? I'll be participating in a top-secret discussion with a representative of the Crossbell government. Recently, a large amount of funding has been flowing into the country through Republican channels, putting our allies on the defensive. I'd always meant to visit at some point. This seemed to be the perfect opportunity. Are you out of your mind? Crossbell is full of enemies and different factions at each other's throats. I hear it's now even a hotbed for terrorist and criminal organizations because of its positions as a buffer state. Does that really sound like the place the Erebonian Chancellor should be going on an unofficial visit? I'm surprised to hear you advocating caution in the face of potential danger, Your Highness. After all, it was you who flew onto an ancient city, at great risk to your own safety, and returned unharmed after surveying it. Compared to such rousing risk-taking, my visit to Crossbell will be child's play. As I'm sure you're aware, you're regarded as something of a hero back in Erebonia now. To see the hero make a grand return befitting his newly minted legend, and aboard the famous Arsail, no less. Naturally, our hero has also taken the time to ensure that every well-known newspaper and magazine are aware of his homecoming too. Oh, I have no doubts that your return will be as glorious as it is played out in your imaginings, Your Highness. Do be sure to capitalize on this chance as best you can to build yourself a firm foothold. I expect great things from you, after all. One of the very few times Olivier will ever use his angry portrait in the context of him being Olivier, the prince, and not the minstrel. It shows that Osborne is a very particular threat if it can get under his skin. Which is quite foreboding and also good setup. Scream! Hey, buddy. You haven't changed a bit, huh? Scream! Scream! Really? Sounds like a ton's happened, huh? But it's nice to see you and your master are doing alright. Scream! Lecter? Well, good day to you, Your Highness. I pray I'm not causing any trouble by taking a tour of the castle like this. The view from this terrace certainly is beautiful, isn't it? What happened to you, Lecter? How did you end up working for Chancellor Osborne? I'm sorry. I haven't the faintest idea what you mean. Are you perchance mistaking me for someone else? Your name is Lecter Arundel. You were the student council president at Genis Royal Academy, which you attended before leaving suddenly 2 years ago. So no, I am not mistaking you for someone else. But that's where you're wrong, because my name is actually Lecter Arundel. I can certainly see how our names could become mixed up. However, they are scarily close. Still, now you know, please just call me Lec. Don't try and joke around with me, Lecter. Do you have any idea how worried all of us were when you just disappeared without any word? You submitted your notice to leave the academy, and then we were never to see you again. Even the otherwise calm Leo let out a cry of anger when he found out. And all Lucy could do was give a sad smile and say, "This is just like him," the whole time with tears in her eyes. Jill and Hans were heartbroken, and so was I. Yet after all that, After all this time, you finally show yourself, knowing full well that I'm here, and this is how you act, by pretending you're someone else? Lecter! Sorry. No need for the scary glare. You're still taking things way too seriously. Looks like it'll take more than stepping up as Crown Princess to change that part of you. Oh. But you know, seeing you makes me feel kinda relieved. I always figured if someone like you became Crown Princess, you'd have virtually no freedom to do anything other than work. But from all that's reached my ears, it sounds like you're actually doing alright for yourself. And you even made some great new friends after I left the academy, didn't you? Nice! I sure did. Nonetheless, it's thanks to you that I was able to change it all. You were the one who gave me the first push in the right direction. I never got the chance to thank you properly after you left. But all this time, I've always been grateful to you. Well, consider me honored. Do I get a kiss in return? You do not. I may feel respect towards you, but nothing romantic. Ah, that's a bummer. There was me, all taken by how pretty you'd become, wondering if this could be the start of something downright magical. And what happens instead? My dreams of romance and sweet smooches are crushed to nothing before they can even begin. I know you don't mean a word of that, you know. You're looking very sharp yourself, though. It's surprising to see. Every time I've seen you before today, it was in that heavily frayed uniform, worn in the most sloppy way imaginable. I think you'll find I was merely making a fashion statement. That wasn't laziness or slobbishness. Every part of it was carefully calculated and considered to have maximum effect. The scary thing is, I actually believe you. You always seemed as if you cared for nothing but having fun and causing trouble. Yet when it came down to it, you were wise beyond your years. And I've finally seen part of the reason behind that today. I'll ask you again, Lecter. How did you end up working for Chancellor Osborne like this? Just what happened to you between you submitting your notice to leave the Academy and now? And that's not something you'll find out properly until Cold Steel 4. Technically 3, but Cold Steel 4. Which would be another almost 15 years from the date this game released in Japan. Do you now? I have to admit, I never imagined that would be the case. On the contrary, I was expecting you to tell me to back off. Oh, Hades forbid. What reason would I have to suggest such a thing? After all, at the end of the day, our propositions are functionally the same. I'm not sure I understand. Do you not think so? Personally, I find it difficult to believe that you would not harbor some hatred toward Erebonia as it is today. A grand empire, clinging to the glories of a bygone era, ruled by the nobility and shackled by meaningless conventions. Am I wrong? People call me the Blood and Iron Chancellor, as though I hold the whole of Erebonia in the palm of my hand. But in reality, my position is far more tenuous. I have supporters and allies in the capital, certainly, but outside its walls, the nobility holds far more sway than any of them. And while it is true, I hold a great amount of power in the form of the Imperial Army, even then, I only truly command around 70% of it. The remainder is loyal to the nobility, who also maintain their own private armies. With those factored in, my advantage shrinks substantially. So you see, I'm still very much in the midst of a battle to truly exert control. Which is why you're building railways all over the country to expand your area of influence. And you've been annexing new territory to that same end. As I've long thought, you clearly understand me better than anyone else. That is why I'll say this again. Work with me, Your Highness. With your support, our nation will be able to bring about real reforms faster than ever. The noble faction, bloated with its centuries of decadence, can be stopped before they even have the chance to unify against us. Surely that's what you desire more than anything. Let me just ask a simple question, Chancellor. What connection do you have with Ouroboros? I'm afraid I'm not quite sure what you're asking. I will say this, however. I'm a firm believer in using every resource at my disposal in the name of achieving reform. That's the way I believe in handling politics. I see. Well, it certainly does seem as though we would see eye to eye in many ways. And that's all the more reason why I'm afraid I must refuse your offer. Is that so? Yes. I find it difficult to like the rotten noble faction that exists in the Empire. Or perhaps you're right that hate is more the appropriate word. But my feelings of fear towards your methods are far greater than my feelings of hatred towards the nobles. What you seem to be doing is trying to compel Erebonians with a delusive utopia, to whip them into an enthusiastic frenzy. No doubt by successfully convincing the people the old guard will fall into the metaphorical firestorm created. And yet, by then, the gears will have already begun turning. There will be no satisfying aroused populace with a thirst for revolution. The storm will just keep growing larger and more ravenous, engulfing anything and everything in its wake. You know this, don't you, Chancellor? But of course! After all, that's what I intend to happen. It's the first stage of my reforms. I'd be more than happy to share further details with you if you were to decide to work with me, Your Highness. In the meantime, I wish you well in strengthening your foothold back in the Empire. Of course, if that's your intention, you'll find it a necessity to work with those nobles you so despise. Oh, you truly do see everything, don't you? Well, that sounds like the noon bell. The airship should be arriving shortly. Which means it's time for me to take my leave, I'm afraid. I look forward to seeing you again in the capital in 2 weeks' time. I take it the discussion is over then. What's wrong? You look awfully tired. Oh, nothing. I'm just feeling wet anew at what monster I decided to pick a fight with. Oopsie. I think it's probably about time for the airship to arrive. I'm gonna have to stop you there and get going. What? See you, Sieg. Next time I see you, I'll bring some Erebonian salami as a souvenir, okay? Scream! Wait! Are you planning to just disappear without telling me anything a second time? Oh, got an important question for you. Did you fall in love with someone while I was away? You hit the nail on the head, huh? Ah, that's so cute! First love, right? How's that feel? Heart all aflutter 1 minute, end of the world the next? Don't you dare start teasing me. But you're right, though. I did. He rejected me in this very spot not that long ago. Wait, you're joking, right? There's a coincidence I didn't see coming. I'm not so sure about that. It feels like you know everything sometimes. I'm not some kind of all-knowing, all-seeing divinity. That's what makes the world so interesting to me. Oh. I'm happy for you, Chloe. Knowing the pain of lost love's what makes a girl's heart blossom, in my opinion. You feel like the whole experience let you get a step closer to the person you want to be? Well, what about you? Do you feel you're getting closer to becoming the person that you want to be? By being at the Chancellor's side? Kinda hard to do that when I don't have a person I want to be to begin with. I'm just sticking with him because it feels like it'll be fun. That's all. I've been doing it since before I joined the academy, in fact. You have? That prince is proving surprisingly capable, but he still isn't a match for the Chancellor. Tell him to watch his back, alright? So that he doesn't get swallowed up by that monster after he gets tired of dancing. Goodbye, Lecter. Thank you all for waiting. The Calabria International Airliner, bound for the Principality of Remiferia, will be departing momentarily. Please mind your footing when boarding. Oh, it was the Blood and Iron Chancellor. I can't believe he actually went out of his way to use a civilian airship when he probably has a private one of his own. I'd heard rumors about how out of the ordinary he is, but he lives up to all of them. He keeps me on my toes, to put it playfully enough. Him aside, thanks for coming all this way to see me off, Sheriff. I was lucky I just happened to have business here at the time. It feels like this is going to be the last chance we get to see one another for a while after all. Rather unfortunate, as my dream is and always was to live away my days in the lap of luxury surrounded by women as beautiful as you. Well, good luck with that. Changing the subject, though, who was the young man at the Chancellor's side? He didn't strike me as your ordinary guy. Oh, you could tell. But of course. I'd say I'm used to running into people who are out of the ordinary at this point. We've sure fought enough of them. His name's Lecter Arundel. He's a secretary who was sent here by the imperial government. Apparently, he was the one who planned out all the details of the Chancellor's visit to Liber. I can't pretend to know much regarding his background, but he's exceptionally skilled at what he does. Actually, I know a little. What? Oh? Is that true? Yes. She also mentioned about his sudden disappearance after the Academy Festival 2 years ago. Unbelievable. Then, someone connected to the Chancellor had visited Liber first, and he's very likely to have had his own veritable information network established here long before I even came up with the idea. I think it's safe for us to assume that's the case, which also means that it's safe to assume he knows every detail about all that's happened here since. From the coup d'etat to the crisis regarding the Aureole, all of it. This man gets around more unbelievable by the minute. He actually gave me a message to pass on to you earlier too. Watch your back so you don't get swallowed up by that monster when you get tired of dancing. He sure knows how to sting where it hurts, doesn't he? I feel like I can see a whole new world of pleasure opening up before my eyes. He should know better. Getting outdone at every turn like this is really not my style. What do you mean? Captain Schwartz, I have a little favor I'd like to ask for when we're in the air. I'm rather impressed with how Prince Olivert has come along. No matter how he chooses to act from here on, he will have his uses, to be certain. You would say that, given that you think of everyone as your pawns. There's me, the prince, that society. Indeed, and I am much the same. We are but pawns on the vast game board that is the Empire.
where a thrill like no other will take place. But it's because you, too, wish to see how that game plays out that you've chosen to stand with me, is it not?
Well, hey, what can I say? Just don't forget this piece right here might not be loyal forever.
And such a betrayal would be perfectly fine by me. Or did you honestly think I'd never considered the possibility that it may happen?
Just thought I'd come out and say it. How are the other Ironbloods doing, by the way?
They're all doing very well, by the sounds of it. At the rate things are going, there's a chance all of the prince's efforts will be for naught. Perhaps I ought to hold back on him a little.
Ugh. You sure don't pull any punches, do you? You know something? I wouldn't write him off so easily if I were in your shoes.
What? What?
Heh.
These look like...
rose petals? If you look out the windows on the right-hand side of the airship, you'll be able to see the famous high-speed crude of the Arsail. We've been informed that it is on its way to the imperial capital with Prince Olivert of the Erebonian Empire on board. But he has also given us a message to relay to all of the passengers on board today. I give thanks to Adios for the good fortune to have been able to meet you today. May your journey be filled with beautiful roses and her blessings. And of course, may your journey to your homes be a safe and pleasant one. That marks the end of his message. I never thought there was a bigger dumbass in this world than me, and yet here we are.
Very well, debaucherous prince. I look forward to seeing what you can do. Show me how long you can hold out against me.
I spat all over my microphone at the end of that laugh. Good lord. Anyway. In summary, stuff's going on in the Empire, orchestrated by none other than Gileath Osborne, the Chancellor. And the entire time that Olivier Olivert has been in Liberl, he's been trying to set up a foothold to stop Osborne from doing whatever he's trying to do in Erebonia. Gives a lot more character to the spoony bard who is wandering around for no reason. I just love Olivier's character so much. And that just compounds it even more. Anyway, thanks for stopping by. Next time, we'll look at some of the other doors that we have yet to accomplish. I'm fairly sure that we'll have mostly stuff about Lecter and Chloe next time, where we'll look at Lecter's days in Genis Royal Academy, and Chloe when she was a student, before she met Estelle and Joshua. And then also learn about what happened to Richard between the events of the beginning of second chapter where he was imprisoned and the end. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate the two of you still here. That was quite a lengthy set of word spiel. You know, drop a like on the stream, leave comments if you're curious about anything. I'll try my best to answer them. And as always, stay safe, and until we meet again, bye-bye.